for teen. Play for free at worldofwarships.com.
Welcome viewers, this is Admiral Revan speaking. First off, we would like to acknowledge our sponsor, Stream Captains, for this video, and they have been very supportive of my community. And I would like to say a big thanks to each and every thing they have done. This game is actually free to play, and you can actually interact with your streamers as well as your viewers, and you can actually work together in both ways, achieving your own goals. And this game is actually free to play, so definitely go check it out. And if you have any questions or anything about it, you can actually get some sponsorships through StreamRaise, and let me know and we'll get in touch and we'll take it from there. Anyways, my friends, we are here to talk about something very, very cool. Alright, here we are. In the lovely video today, we are actually going to introduce you to two American battleships that have been legends in the making in World War II, and also their involvement in, well, and other historical events, like for example the Korean War, as well as their involvement with the Gulf War, and a lot more details will yet to come. But anyways, the pride of the American Navy, and the best way I can say it is that it's a legendary battleship for all time. These legendary warships of the Iowa class battleships, also known as the Iowa and the Missouri, are in this video. So for the first time in ages, my friends, we are actually going to introduce you to American battleships at tier 9 in the tech tree. Now, the American battleship, the Iowa, can be obtained in the tech tree at tier 9. And the Missouri is a premium battleship that you can only get on a one-off from Christmas containers at the stage. It used to be, years ago, when World of Warships came out, it used to be located around about here as a free XP ship that you could grind for, and you can get it. But in this video, I can show you both, because I have this on a different server, which is on the Asia server. The Iowa and the Missouri, two very good battleships at tier 9. They both have decent firepower, armament, and whatnot that makes, this ship worthwhile getting. So the Iowa is a tier 9 with a health pool of 79,000. Torpedo reduction at 25%. The artillery guns on this thing is actually 16-inch guns, which is 406mm guns, with 3 guns, with 3 barrels in each, 2 in the front, 1 in the rear. There has a lot of secondary armaments of 10 127mm guns, which is a good range of 10 kilometers. The AA defense of this thing is fantastic, with a firing range of 5.8 kilometers. Maneuverability is pretty decent at 30 knots, as well as concealment is a decent at 47%, which is roughly about 12.8 12.7, sorry, detectability by sea, 9.2 by air, 2 kilometers assured detectability range, and 15.6 when firing guns and smoke. So this warship is pretty deadly in general. The Missouri, on the other hand, the rival for it, there's some differences that you'll notice. Like, for example, that you'll notice that the torpedo protection is 25%. The health pool has shrunk a little to 78,300. If you compare it between to the hit points on the Iowa, it's just shrunk a little bit. The gunfiring range on this thing is actually 23.4 kilometers. The secondaries is still 5.8. Sorry, the firing range for the AA defense is 5.8. The secondaries in general, I am quickly glancing over it. It is 8.3 kilometers, and the Iowa is 10 kilometers. So there's some differences. I will show you the differences in both ships to make you understand why they are such a case. Now, for example, that you can actually upgrade the Iowa's guns pretty much to a decent gunfire range of 23 kilometers. So now the Iowa is 23.3, just like the Missouri, but it's just like a slight, short distance. So there you go. The maneuverability, you can actually increase it to 34.7 knots. The Missouri can go 34.7 knots, so you may as well have the both the same. So why not, And there you go. Alright, so this is where the fun begins. The Iowa is pretty decent now. It is pretty much similar to the Missouri. The only slight difference is that the main guns is actually, can be a bit shorter, just by a little bit, and also its engines is pretty much the same speed, so that's not the point. The one crucial fact that you'll notice that the Iowa and the Missouri is that they're both iconic warships for different reasons. So with the Iowa, I definitely, went with main armaments for this one. It does have the option to have increased action time consumable for the damage control party, which is DCP for acronym. But you don't need to have that. Damage control system is nice to have. Secondary battery is pretty good. You can change it to main battery transfer speed if you wanted to, or AA defense, depending whatever suits your fancy. If you're in a div with your friends, I would recommend definitely have one of you have at least AA. The other two can have these secondaries. Why? Well, the Iowa in its own right, either the Iowa or the Missouri, they both have good secondaries and AA defense. If you work together within close proximity, you can actually kill the aircraft pretty quickly, as well as dominate the playfield with your secondaries against enemy ships like destroyers or cruisers or battleships at close range. The damage control party for being modification 2 is probably recommended for you. If you feel that you already got what you needed, but you want to have better performance in your steering, that is advisable as well too. I have noticed that people have actually used this in clan battles as well as brawls. In ranked battles, it's not so much, but I have noticed that some people have been using the option to use propulsion to get away from the enemy quickly when it's torping. But then again, there are some people who have, and you notice it as well, have been using the torpedo lockout system. It's a bit of a yes and no scenario, but honestly, that concealment is much better for your warship anyway. As you notice that you get good detectability range by sea, air, and also squadron range has been reduced by 10%. but the dispersions fired by enemies attacking your ship is actually higher, so that you have a better chance of dodging those shells. As you can notice that with the Iowa class, you can actually have the main battery modification, but the artillery plotting room is not really advised unless you're using for clan battles, if you want precise hits on the target more commonly. But then again, the auxiliary armaments modification too is advisable alongside with the main battery for your general gameplay. The Missouri, on the other hand, I will admit, the Missouri has a lot of potential. And honestly, I had the torpedo lookout system on here for different reasons. And to be fair, the concealment is at 30. So I had been thinking lightly about this. If I look at the difference with the concealment on the Iowa, as you notice, it's 47. So basically, you can see the stats has actually, decreased a fair bit. I wouldn't recommend the torpedo lookout system really on any ships like this. I would probably, look at the idea of quickly, sell it and replace it with the actual concealment instead on the Missouri. For this one here, I mean, you still have the option here, the main batteries and also auxiliary armaments, but either way, that's all fine. So what I'm going to do is that I will play a quick battle in a way with the Missouri shortly, but before we do, I will show you a couple key factors about the Missouri and the Iowa. As you notice that in the Missouri here, that we have the citadels actually pretty much like front in the middle. Any battleships in close range proximity will be able to score some serious hits on this thing. As you noticed in my previous video with the Petro and the Rigger, I have attempted to try and score some hits on the Iowa or the Missouri as such and try to citadel it. It's not that always successful, so you can understand that there's some serious protection on this thing. The other thing about it is that if you look at the Iowa is pretty much the same idea. It's just that there's little difference between the two. So as you notice, it's 38. Iowa is pretty much 32 and 38. So honestly, let's go with the flow and show you this video how it works, this ship in a way. The Iowa, honestly, is a very good ship to play on. It's fun to enjoy yourself and doing this battle modes. I'm doing it in co-op mode because it's actually pretty easy to get in battles and show you what it's like in battle here. I would highly recommend avoid using HE pretty much on these battleships because they're only handy. HE is really handy when the ships are only front onto you and you can't really hit them with your AP rounds. The one thing I can say very openly is that the Iowa class battleships, as well as the Missouri, can pack a punch definitely when you have it on a certain angle. Now, as you can see, there's a freeze line right up in front of me, okay? Technically, when I'm pointing to that island over there like that, if my target is there, I mean you have good protection, but it is ideal to have your ship a little bit angled when you're actually firing your guns to protect yourself. Like for example, just to the right of this freeze line over here, you can protect yourself if the ship's over here, and then you can basically turn to your right like this, and then see where the freeze line is right now. You can protect yourself, take incoming shells like so, and then you can see you can protect yourself with an angle like that. Why? Because look at the front deck of the ship. Basically, it's a bit of an angle, pretty much that shells can bounce off of it and ricochet. So that is one of the key factors about it that you'll like about this ship very, very much. Now, I will show you more depth about what's it like in the range of this thing. So I'm showing the range of my secondaries, my AA, as well as my main batteries, and at the moment the targets are not yet in range yet. But as you can see, to my left I have an Atlanta. Honestly, if I took shots at Atlanta right now, I probably would have pretty much killed it. But honestly, that's not the end of the game for this one, to show in this video. But you can risk pretty much an overpan, generally speaking. So here comes a Friesland that's coming over. Where my Y icon is, I can launch spotter planes or fire planes if I had it equipped. In this case, I got spotter planes, so you can choose one or the other. You can reheal yourself pretty well on this thing, so it's pretty decent. So as you can see, HE's been fired, but I just fired some AP rounds to that Friesland, and it's pretty decent. But look at that, you know, my teammates pretty much devastated that ship all around. So here we go, we have found the good old Iowa that's actually coming up ahead. I have decided to turn around a little bit to give myself a bit of a broadside to him. I'm taking shots at this guy. I didn't score ricochet, but hey, look, there's a York coming around the corner. And look at that. Okay. Aim for the waterline on the York. But you would have taken shots at him, and you actually probably could have possibly citadeled him. But hey, there's an F to Grossi after long range. Fire shots at him. And that's actually a pretty good penetration hits. Look at the secondary, so firing at the from the Iowa to the Iowa, and wow, that was pretty awesome. Except, wow, didn't give myself a chance to actually kill that guy, did I? But anyways, let's go in and continue on. But yeah, general gameplay for the Iowa and the Missouri is that you don't rush in with it. Even though they're fast battleships, to rush in to get close to the battle, and well, you do cause a lot of damage and whatnot. But you know, to be fair, these ships are good for sniping at enemy ships at long range. So as you can see, there's a Colorado at long range. I just seen him and I go like, oh yeah, he's actually turning around. I'm gonna fire my guns at long range and see what happens. At the moment, my shells are looking pretty impressive, spot on to target. Well, at least I think so. But there you go, and that's how you take out a tier 7 Colorado. Generally speaking, that whenever like you have aircraft carriers going up against you, this is a bit of an eye-opener for you. I would recommend staying close to your fleet. Don't worry about too much about maneuvering as much. Your ship can actually maneuver quite well. If you notice that if you actually start, you know, telling to go left or right, as you can see, the ship is pretty maneuverable. But if you need to actually tell it to slow down and stop while you're moving, like how to do a hard turn, for example, like this, it does take a little while, but notice that the speed is decreasing a lot quicker for a fast battleship like this. And then you can actually re-increase your speed and then go back again and continue on as per normal. These ships are pretty cool. You know, they're decent, they're awesome to play with and fun to enjoy. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's worth it, man. Alright, so that was the general aspect of playing the Iowa. But it's not too bad playing it with, the damage at this rate. But let me just show you quickly how you play the Missouri. The Missouri has one upper hand. It's different, and that's got radar. It is 9.5 kilometer range in radar. I thought this one had 10 kilometer range in radar, but anyways, you can probably like go through the modifications here and see if you can upgrade it. And looks like no, you can't. So we just have to go with the flow. Oh, you can actually increase the firing range of this thing, which is pretty much more than 23 kilometers. So that's pretty awesome to know. But you know what? I'm not going to do that because that's actually pretty cool. Okay, so with the Missouri, it is an interesting battleship to play with as well too. This ship has a lot of perks that I think that you'll like a lot about it. Now, one of the biggest things that I probably would appreciate the most about this Missouri is that simple fact, it has a good money earning returns. For example, for the in-game credits. The in-game credits in this game can be a bit tedious at times, but the Missouri, whatever you win in this battle, you actually can get some decent returns on your resources and stuff, which is pretty cool to have in the long term. So while we're waiting for this to kick in, let the fun begin. Alright. Okay, so another co-op battle. It's not too bad, it's pretty straightforward, and I think you'll like this. Just give me 1 second and we'll take it from there. Alright, here we go. This is where it all counts. It comes down to this. So, bear with us. We're about to find out the hard way. Alright, here we go. So, we're cruising along as per normal and we have HE loaded, which is not exactly ideal. Unless we want to try and take out this trash can, which is probably be a good idea. So let's give it a try. Alright, so fire my shots. There's probably going to be a swing and a miss and gain that trash can. But you're better off with AP all round. The good thing about with this warship that I'm playing on, you can actually use it to advantage. Now, for many reasons, the Missouri is a great money-earning warship, as I told you before. The biggest thing about it all is that you need to be careful of rushing into the battle in such a hurry, because there's no need to rush in. You can actually cause some devastating blows here. So as you can see, the Edinburgh is right over there behind the aunt. I can't see it, but it's, I don't have to worry about it now. But guess what? I got some enemy targets right in front of me. So here we go. The associate player is actually moving in and doing his own thing. I have a curve first, and I also have a lion, and also a thunderer to deal with. Stay bow in onto your targets. Slow down to 1/4 if you have to, or all stop, and then focus on what you need to do. So fire at the, like a target as per normal, and as you can see, that it did score some good penetration hits, but at the same time, a lot of ricochets. I would advise, definitely quickly get yourself, bow in towards any ship that's in front of you, especially like the Kurfürst here in front of me. So the Kurfürst is pretty strong tier 10 German battleship, but it doesn't like you when you actually hit it at its weak spot, just like that. So be careful as you drive this, ship. So just hang in tight, slow down. As you notice that your secondaries can actually focus on the lion as per normal. But don't worry about it. Okay. Aim for the waterline as thunder is broadside to you. And then you can score some good hits. Unfortunately, he didn't give you an opportunity for a citadel, but that's okay. Your radar does not detect torpedoes, but it does actually, detect enemy other ships nearby you. The battle was short-lived, unfortunately. So we'll give it one more battle run on this Missouri for you. Because I want to show you a couple of different other things about this thing. That's pretty handy. Okay, here we go. Round 2. Fight. Okay, so we're going to bring this in. We're going to bring this into gameplay now. So we're going to have the Missouri taken into flight in action against some ships that, well, is pretty much definitely not out in the open like this. So the enemy is actually going to be pretty much going to be in the middle, heading towards the middle. Why they put me out that far away from the map, I have no idea. Sometimes the positioning in this game makes me laugh. But enough shenanigans. We will go in there and I will show you how it's done. Alright, so here we are, round 2 on the Missouri. So with everything going on, we are going to move closer and closer towards the objective. So have your AP loaded. Looking at the what's up against you basically have some good variety of ships. Each of these ships that I'm looking over carefully, they do have a weakness, and they have in common. AP. Armor Pearson can definitely hit those battleships, no worries. Armor Pearson in Seattle, take it out in one shot. Algeria, same thing. Jervis and Shiratsu, you can do 2 options with that. HE or AP, but I would prefer that you use AP, because you actually, if you learn how to play it properly, you'll notice that you actually can score some good devastating blows on this. So here's the Algeria and long distance. At the moment, he is around about 13 clicks. It's closing in. It's closing in. And looking pretty solid. And I scored some overpens. Well, it's a bit of a shame, but hey. The enemy ship is around about 17 clicks. But if you do it correctly, you can actually score some serious devastating blows on this thing. So here we are. We're actually focusing on trying to get some serious blows on the enemy here. Looks like at this stage, not a chance. Because the Algary's DD teammate has said like, no, screw that idea. I am going to smoke you all up. Well, it's only all well and good, but until, you know, until we spot them. And keep in mind though, I have radar, so if I punch up radar now, guess what? I have spotted the enemy. And that Algary is going like, oh crap, I don't know what to do. Well, guess what? Hi Algary. Nice devastating hits on that with the citadels. And awesome. Got him. So there goes one simple target out of the way. Alright. There is another target up ahead, and that is called the Izamo. Gonna fire shots at him deliberately, but look out, we have a customer. Let's focus on the Missouri. Missouri versus Missouri. Okay, pro tip. 1. What am I doing wrong? I'm not showing myself bow into the target. I'm actually showing myself angled. A little bit too much on my side of the ship. As you can see, I just angled myself just close enough for me not to get myself citadeled like that. I'm going to angle myself away a little bit and aim towards the waterline. Here it is. Fire. Couple good shots. And I'm very happy with it. Now I can smack down and hard right rudder, but we got a little situation here, and that is we have a lion. The lion is actually focused on my Algary teammate. That's nice. Gives you an upper hand to actually move in position. Alright, have your main guns focus around about here. The lion is definitely not knowing what to do with you. He's basically saying, oh crap, I just put myself the broadside to Missouri. Fired a waterline and actually, look at that, smashing blow hits. And then, thanks to your contribution, you are able to take out that lion pretty successfully. Okay, as you noticed that the Missouri had basically taken a good shot at me and a bit of chunk of my health. Well, that was because I was too much broadside. Don't stay too much broadside, otherwise you're going to cause more trouble. Aim towards the second turret here, fire again. And you notice that I hit the torpedo protection? Yeah, that was not good, hey. Alright, keep turning hard right. You gotta keep turning hard right. As you can see, that your health has actually been damaged a fair bit because of showing too much broadside. Okay. You can slow down and turn around again. And then another smashing blow. Watching the enemy torp itself actually makes me laugh. Alright, here we go. We got a good opportunity here to retaliate. And see that at the bottom of the ship is actually showing itself a little bit. Alright, just lower down the guns a bit. Fire again. And you can hit it pretty hard. Look at that. The enemy's main guns is actually starting to get closer and closer looking at you. Definitely slam the brakes as you turn closer into the ship. And look at that. It is gonna be a perfect ram. That is one way of doing it. But anyway, that's the fun part of ramming ships in this game. So hey, why not? So you may as well pull off the Leroy Jenkins. Alright, so let's go to port and wait for the Missouri, and I will show you a couple of things about the commander skills. So, okay, John Doe is my commander that I use for the Mighty Mo and the Iowa as well. So this commander, John Doe, is obtainable in the game if you have it already. If you don't have it already, but they're definitely worthwhile getting these captains. Gun feeder is actually pretty decent, as well as grease the gears for your guns, for turning the guns around. The other thing about this is that you can actually use it pretty strongly for heavy AP shells. Now, is it really needed? Not really. I mean, like, honestly, I find it that AP shells buffed up on the Missouri or the Iowa is not necessarily needed, but the guns itself can do a lot of damage in a way. But anyhow, the basics of survivability is pretty handy. AA gunner is very handy indeed for what you want to use it for. Preventive maintenance. Yes, you should get it, as well as emergency repair specialists. As your commanders get up, higher and higher points, so I would recommend spending points on this one, as well as the preventive maintenance and also emergency repair. Would you need to have prior technician? Not really, but it's good for secondaries to cause extra HE damage. However, I do recommend thoroughly when you get in close battle with any warship out there, is that when you get like a lot of HE damage coming at your way, definitely get fire prevention expert. Later on, get the emergency repair expert, and that will be handy to have. Is it concealment really needed? Well, yes and no. It's actually not like a bad thing not to get, but it's not like a must-have. But I would get the repair expert and also the fire prevention, because the ship itself is maneuverable and fast enough to get out from the enemy. The Iowa, on the other hand, the captain I use on it is a standard captain called Peter Nash. Now, even though I have spent points on preventive maintenance, AA gunner, notice that I don't have grease the gears, because even though he's an 18-point captain, I have focused myself more on making sure my secondaries are pretty good. My repairs and basic survivability for fire, flooding, and that is pretty average. My concealment as well as my fire prevention is actually pretty top notch. So if the next thing I'm going to do, considering it's a level 18 captain, I'll probably look at the idea of maybe increasing those super heavy AP shells instead. But hey, at the end of the day, that is pretty much the Iowa and the Mighty Mo in a nutshell. My friends, if you like what I've seen on this video, please definitely go check it out in more detail. I can give you more advice and whatnot on how to play these ships. But definitely, if you need some more tips about how to play the Iowa and Missouri, definitely ask me and let me know, and then we'll take it from there. One thing I will say before I do take off is that I will show you one minor thing, and I'll show you this. Is the exterior side. Having like the detonation magazine is not a bad thing to have, okay, and also the ramming flag, just in case somebody rams you and you got something to protect yourself with. It's good to have, definitely is. So that's just my thoughts, my personal thoughts anyway. But yeah, but definitely it's very good to have for your warship. Aside from that, just enjoy the game as much as you can. But yeah, folks, if you like what you see, enjoyed the video tutorial and everything, feel free to give me a follow. Check out more of my videos I have on here. Please, if you have any tips or advice that you need or you want on this video or other videos in the near future, please let me know and we'll definitely get in touch with you. Alright, stay safe, take care.